Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB games scheduled for Saturday, April 23rd, 2022. Now, if you like this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to our channel, and put your baseball picks down in the comment section below. If you're looking for my best bets or best bets from some of the top handicappers in the world today, be sure to check out the Premium Picks tab at Pickdawgz.com. Alrighty, let's get into it. Here are the games for Saturday, April 23rd. First up, we have the New York Yankees hosting the Cleveland Guardians. Nestor Cortes taking on Kirk McCarty in this game, and Kirk McCarty is going to be making his MLB debut in this start. Had to do a little bit of research on him, and I found he's a 26-year-old left-handed pitcher, 7th round draft pick in the 2017 MLB draft. Last year with the Guardians AAA affiliate Columbus, he went 9-6 with a 5.01 ERA. In spring training of this year, he threw 5 innings of shutout baseball, not allowing a single walk and striking out 6 batters. And in his first 3 outings of this season with the AAA affiliate, he threw an 11 1/3 innings, .79 ERA with 12 strikeouts. You know, he did have a little bit of a home run issue last season. 1.8 home runs per 9 allowed, which I do worry about in this one. We know the Yankees bats haven't really gotten off to the best start this season, but there's really no excuses for them not to perform at a high level in this one, going up against a guy who is very unproven at the major league level. On the other side, Nestor Cortes is pitching very well to start the year for the Yankees. He's got 17 strikeouts in 9 1/3 innings, hasn't given up an earned run yet this year. Kind of a hidden gem that the Yankees have found in their rotation, a guy that kind of came out of nowhere. And, could be a number 2 or maybe even an eventual number 1 in this rotation if he can keep it up. But still, I think Cortes is a good option for the Yankees to have in the middle of their rotation right now. And I like the Yankees to win this game. I'm going to lay the run line with them because the money line price just isn't the best, laying at -180. So I'll lay the run line with the Yankees at home for this one. Next up, we have the San Francisco Giants taking on the Washington Nationals. Alex Wood and Aaron Sanchez, the projected starters here. And Aaron Sanchez is going to be going up against his former club in this one, as he was a member of the Giants in 2021. In that season, he pitched 35 1/3 innings, 3.06 ERA, but he did have a 4.05 FIP, which does have me worried a little bit going into this season, because if you see Sanchez in his career, he's had an issue with the free passes. He allows a lot of walks. His career average is 4.0 walks per 9. And he's not really known for getting a lot of strikeouts either. His career average 7.2 Ks per 9. So if you're not missing a lot of bats and you're allowing a lot of people on base, usually not a recipe for success. On the other side, Alex Wood has pitched really well this year, 1.93 ERA in his first 2 starts, 11 strikeouts in 9 1/3 innings. And the Washington Nationals have struggled against left-handed pitching this year. I think that continues in this one. And, the Giants have actually hit righties pretty well this year, top 15 in the league in team OPS against right-handers. I think they get to Sanchez. They know him pretty well after last year, and I like the Giants to win this game. I'll take them on the money line. Next up, we have a doubleheader on our hands as the Rockies are taking on the Tigers. The game on Friday between these two was rained out, so we're going to see 2 games on Saturday. As I've mentioned before, I tread pretty lightly in doubleheader games, but we do have a good amount of information as far as starting pitchers go for what these 2 games should look like. And Antonio Senzatella and Tariq Skubal for Game 1, and we're going to have Austin Gomber and Bo Brisky for Game 2. Now, for Game 1, I'm going to take the under here. Senzatella and Skubal both in good form to start the year. Senzatella is going to be getting his first road start of the season. When you pitch pretty well at Coors Field and then you play the Dodgers lineup as well, I think you're going to pitch pretty well on the road here. And the Tigers with Tariq Skubal pitched a fantastic start last time out. Shutout. He only gave up 1 run. It was unearned. But 7 strikeouts and no walks against the Royals in 5 2/3 innings. A promising sign to see from him. So I'm going to take the under in Game 1. And then in Game 2, I'm going to lean towards the Tigers on the money line with their rookie Bo Brisky making his major league debut in this one. Brisky was a 27th round draft pick in the 2019 draft, and now he's making his first major league start. I got to tip my cap to him. That takes a lot of hard work. To be a 27th rounder in only 3 years, make your first start. Man, it took a lot of hard work to get here, and he's pitched really well in the minor leagues. Double-digit strikeouts per 9. He limits walks and home runs as well. He looked good in spring training in the limited innings he's had. I think he had 4 strikeouts and 2 innings of work in spring. So I'm going to take a shot with Brisky. Austin Gomber has struggled quite a bit to start the season. I expected a good year from him, but 7 ERA, only 6 Ks in 9 innings of work. He's given up 6 walks as well. So I think the Tigers can get to him. So I'm going to take the Tigers on the money line in Game 2. So that, again, is going to be the under in Game 1 and the Tigers on the money line in Game 2. Next up, we have the Pittsburgh Pirates taking on the Chicago Cubs. Kyle Hendricks and Zach Thompson, the projected starters here. Now, both of these guys have faced the opposition already this season. Zach Thompson fared a lot better in his start than Kyle Hendricks did. Thompson went 4 innings of 2-run ball with 3 strikeouts and a walk, while Hendricks, he gave up 7 hits, 6 earned, a homer, 4 walks as well, in only 3 2/3 innings. That was on the road, and usually Hendricks in recent seasons, or at least in the past, was a pretty dominant pitcher at Wrigley Field. But in the last couple of years, it hasn't necessarily been the case, and I do worry about Hendricks going forward. You know, with a 6.08 ERA and a 1.95 FIP, adding to the fact that he also struggled against his Pirates lineup not too long ago, I can't necessarily trust laying that kind of price with Hendricks with the Cubs at home here. I think the Pirates on the run line is the play I'm going to take in this one. I do think it's going to be a lower scoring game, so with runs being at a premium, having that 1.5 with the underdog is not a bad idea. So I'll take Pittsburgh plus the 1.5. Next up, we have the Chicago White Sox taking on the Minnesota Twins. Now, Vince Velasquez, not a starter that I back too often because he does have issues with the free passes and the home runs. He gives up a lot of walks and a lot of homers. He's only given up 1 homer thus far this season, but 6 walks in 8 2/3 innings is scary. And he did get into a big jam in the first inning of the last game against the Rays. Somehow he was able to get through it and get through 4 2/3 innings, but he did get the loss in that one. I do think he's going to get the loss in this game as well. Dylan Mundy on the other side, pitching really well this year, 2-0 with a .87 ERA. I like the Twins and Bundy on the money line in this one. Next up, we have the Milwaukee Brewers taking on the Philadelphia Phillies. Zach Wheeler and Adrian Hauser, the projected starters here. Not a big fan of this game just because I can't really feel confident about either of these starters at this point this year. Sure, Adrian Hauser has a 2.89 ERA, but his FIP is at 3.48 because he's had 6 walks in 9 1/3 innings and only 7 strikeouts in those innings as well. He hasn't given up a home run this year, but I do think with allowing so many walks, I think the Phillies could definitely put up a few on him in this one. But on the other side, Zach Wheeler, 0-2 with a 9.39 ERA. He has not been sharp whatsoever, and his strikeout numbers are way down this year. He had 10.4 Ks per 9 last season. This year, he's only had 6 Ks in 7 2/3 innings. He's walked a good amount of batters. He's already given up a homer. I really can't feel confident about either of these starters at this point. So I'm just going to take the over and a slight lean here. It's a pretty low total, so I think we have some value on the over with just both guys not really pitching well to start the year and 2 offenses that are competent, especially the Phillies. I'm going to take the over in the Brewers-Phillies. Next up, we have the Texas Rangers taking on the Oakland Athletics. Frankie Montas and Martin Perez, the projected starters in this one. Now, I got to admit, I'm pretty surprised to see where this money line price is. Right now, it's at Oakland minus 125. Now, it did open at minus 115. It's shot up to 125 now, but I really think this line could honestly be minus 140, even 150 with Montas and Perez here. I think Oakland is the better team overall. I think Montas is the much better starting pitcher as well. Martin Perez 0-2 with a 6.75 ERA this season. He's allowed 4 walks in his first 2 starts combined. And, just a guy that I think gets into a lot of trouble, gets into a lot of jams. He puts a good amount of guys on base. That's why his whip right now is 2, as he's given up 12 base hits in his first 2 outings. On the other side, Frankie Montas, he struggled in his first start against the Phillies, but he was fantastic against the Rays in his next start, and he was great against the Orioles in the start after that. And that's why he's 2-1 with a 3.63 ERA. So I'm going to take the A's here on the money line. I just think the price is too good to pass up. Next up, we have the St. Louis Cardinals taking on the Cincinnati Reds. Dakota Hudson and Tyler Malley, the projected starters. Now, both guys have struggled quite a bit to start the 2022 campaign. Dakota Hudson has a 7.71 ERA, 6.34 FIP. He's allowed 2 homers already in his first 7 innings of work, 2 walks, 7 runs total, 6 of those were earned, and only 6 strikeouts as well. On the other side, Tyler Malley is known as a guy that pitches well on the road, not so much at Great American Ballpark, but this year, really, he struggled at both spots. He gave up 7 earned runs last outing against the Dodgers on the road in a 9-1 loss. And in the previous start to that, he pitched at home, 4 earned runs allowed to the Cleveland Guardians. So really neither starter I can trust a whole lot in this one. And the weather may not be looking ideal for an over here, but that's really the only spot I can really look at is taking the over in this one. I think both teams can get on the board, especially the St. Louis Cardinals, but I wouldn't want to lay that kind of price with Dakota Hudson in the current form that he's in. So give me the over in the Cards-Reds. Next up, we have the Toronto Blue Jays taking on the Houston Astros. This exciting series carries on as we have Jose Urquidy and Alek Manoah as the projected starters here. Now, for the most part, I've been pretty impressed with Alek Manoah's start to the season. 2-0 with a 1.5 ERA. Can't be too shabby there. 13 strikeouts. But the walks are a little bit of an issue. I'd like to see that number shrink. He's already allowed 6 walks in 12 innings. But for the most part, having a really good year. While Jose Urquidy was really struggling last time out against the Mariners. 6 earned runs, a homer in 4 innings of work, 8 hits allowed in a 7-2 Astros loss. And I think this Blue Jays lineup is going to be able to get to Urquidy here. And I do worry about Urquidy and the Astros pitching staff in this particular game. I think the price is right with the Blue Jays because they are the road team. So I'm going to take Toronto on the money line on the road. Next up, we have the Boston Red Sox taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. Now, in this one, we don't have a ton of information as far as what the pitching light is going to look like. Garrett Whitlock is the projected starter here, but he is more seen out of the bullpens. This will be his first Major League career start. So I don't expect him to go very deep in this game, probably around 2 innings, maybe 3. While the Rays, they haven't announced a starter here. It's probably going to be an opener and a bullpen game as well. We know Kevin Cash is very comfortable in those types of games, and I'm usually comfortable backing the Rays in those types of games as well. You know, Cash, basically the pioneer of the opener spot. He knows how to work his bullpen, and I think with 2 teams going at it, I think the Rays have the better bullpen, and at home, I'll take the Rays on the money line in a lean, but not a game I'm rushing to bet. In our next game, we see the Miami Marlins taking on the Atlanta Braves. Eliezer, Hernandez, and Ian Anderson, the projected starters for this contest. Now, Ian Anderson really struggled in his first start of the year, bounced back in a big way in his next start, only gave up 1 earned run on a solo home run against the Padres in a 5-2 win in 5 2/3 innings. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the season, Ian Anderson's a guy I've got my eye on in this season. You know, he's a guy that gets behind in the count very often, which does worry me a substantial amount. I think the Marlins bats are going to be able to get to him at least a little bit in this start. I don't know. Miami's definitely not known as the offensive juggernaut of the league, but they have done a good job contact-wise, at least against right-handed pitching. They've struggled with runners in scoring position this season, but I think they can get Anderson for 3 or 4 runs in this one. While on the other side, Eliezer Hernandez, not a guy I trust too much, especially against a really tough Braves lineup. Eliezer 4.22 ERA this season. The strikeouts are there, but the home runs are also there. He's got 3 home runs in his first 10 2/3 innings. That scares me against a pretty powerful Braves lineup. So I'm going to take the over in the Marlins Braves. The total's pretty low because Anderson's on the bump. I'll take the over. Next up, we have the New York Mets taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks. This is probably my least favorite game on the board, not because I don't think there's any value there, but I just don't really know what the value is with the Mets not announcing a projected starter. And the Diamondbacks haven't announced their projected starter either, but it does look like it's going to be Humberto Castellanos. So with no line and no starters here, got to just take a small lean with the Mets on the run line, because although Castellanos didn't give up an earned run against the Mets in his first outing, he did walk 3 batters and only had 1 strikeout in 4 innings, which does worry me here. We know the Diamondbacks lineup has been pretty weak all season. I think the Mets are going to be able to get to the Diamondbacks in this one. They won that Humberto start last series 5-0. I could see a similar scoreline in this one on the road. So give me the Mets and a very slight lean on the run line. Next up, we have the Los Angeles Dodgers taking on the San Diego Padres. Now, this is probably going to be the game of the night in terms of entertainment value. In terms of betting value, I'm not in love with this game. I will take a small lean with the home dog here, getting the plus money with Yu Darvish on the mound and the Padres. Darvish pitched 30 innings against the Dodgers last year, and he had a 2.70 ERA in those innings. He pitched well against Los Angeles for the most part, and I think it's worth a shot with the Padres here. We know these two teams hate each other. The Padres, I think if they're going to win a home game in this series, it's going to be this game with their ace on the mound. So I'll take a small lean with San Diego on the money line. Next up, we have the Baltimore Orioles taking on the Los Angeles Angels. Now, this is the steepest money line price you're going to see for Saturday's games. as the Angels are a very steep favorite on the money line here. Spencer Watkins and Noah Syndergaard are the projected starters here. I think the Angels are big favorites for a reason. I like Syndergaard in this one, 2-0 with a 1.59 ERA, 0.79 WHIP as well. And although Spencer Watkins hasn't done too poorly this year, I do think the Angels' bats are going to get to him. The Angels, one of the hottest lamps in baseball right now. And I think Watkins going forward, not a guy I'd like to back too often. So I'm going to take the Angels on the run line here and maybe even think about laying 2.5 runs as well. In our next game, our final game of the night, we're going to see the Kansas City Royals taking on the Seattle Mariners. Chris Bubich and Matt Brash, the projected starters for this one. I'm going to take the Mariners on the money line in this contest with Chris Bubich struggling, 10.8 ERA this season. He's allowed 8 walks and only 5 innings of work in 2022. And the Mariners are the type of team to take advantage of that. We know they play very well in close games. They play very well at home. I think they get the win in this game. Matt Brash has really looked solid. Out of nowhere, I didn't really know much about him going into this season, but he's got some wicked stuff, and he's already pitched really well. 1-1 with a 3.38 ERA this season, 11 strikeouts in 10 2/3 innings. The Mariners will certainly take that at the end of their rotation. So give me the Mariners on the money line to end the night. And that's it. Those are the games for Saturday, April 23rd. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. And don't forget to put your baseball picks down in the comments section below for the games for Saturday. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.